Okay, thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys jumping on. Appreciate you being early. And we're going to go ahead and get kicked off here in just a little bit. I'll be introducing kind of a special guest who we've got with us today. But we appreciate all of you guys. Some of you guys, I think I was able to see over the weekend, we had a big event in Puerto Rico that was fantastic. And so I know there's a few of you on here who normally end up at those events. And so, yeah, there's Jenna. Jenna was there. We had a great time talking, and yeah, she's a big part of our community. We're trying to turn all of you guys into big parts of our community, even though all of you are. For those of you guys show up here, man, we appreciate it. We love having you there and showing up every week to get updates from us. And as we continue to go along, and as we go through this transition of having Element United be more community driven and community led, we're going to have all of you guys hopefully play a much bigger part in how we move forward, at least with your voice. We started a couple weeks ago. We wanted to make sure everybody had a chance to ask questions, and we answered some of those questions live 2 weeks ago, but we couldn't get to all of them. And so what I did is we wrote down all the questions, and then I just went and personally answered them, and then we posted that in Discord. And so I hope everybody that had a question was able to get it answered. However, questions don't just come up every few months when we ask people their opinions. Questions come up every day. So if you have any questions, make sure that you let us know, and we're happy to answer them. It's been really fun now that we are community driven. The transparency is a lot greater now because it's not like, okay, there's this company over here and information is disseminated just when they want to. Now we just talk openly about everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, the fun things, the momentum. And it's been really great to be able to help facilitate and lead these discussions and to lead these actions. And our community is growing quite a bit, not only with new members, but also with new partners. And as we bring on these new partners and as we are able to execute a lot of the plans that we've had for a long time, it's really fun to see what's happening. Now, a lot of these partners are internal, right? We have a lot of you guys who are familiar with how our ecosystem works. You know that we are part of a greater ecosystem that has multiple brands that do a lot of different things in a lot of different fields. Well, there's good and there's bad that come with that, right? We explained that last week. People were asking, why does it take so long to do things? And there's benefits to being a part of an ecosystem, like shared costs. There's hindrances, which means some things get bottlenecked. Maybe something pops up with another brand and it's all hands on deck, where if you got to go, fix something or create something. But overall, it's a net benefit, in my opinion, that we are part of this greater ecosystem. And one of the things that comes from that is that, man, there's a lot of collaboration. There are different brands out there. Some of you guys are familiar with Rally, some of you guys are familiar with Grow. They're doing amazing things and bringing in huge communities. Well, there's a lot of crossover with some of those communities. In fact, I was able to share, as you guys know, we have a great partnership with Jay, who owns the Tanzania mine, of which Element owns part of that. I always ask the question, how many of you guys on here own a gold mine? Well, if you're a node owner, every hand goes up. There you go, Jenna. And so that partner is doing some incredible things also in farming. And he started off in Tanzania as a humanitarian project. And because of all his goodwill, the government gifted him all these amazing opportunities in mining, which is how we associated with him. Now he's doing some great things in farming. And so we're able to bring in Grow, which is another one of our blockchains that's determined to track and trace food and make sure everybody knows all the healthy things that they're eating and all the bad things so that they can make good choices and pay for all of your food using the Grow token. We're doing very similar things. And so we have a great collaboration that was brought to us by the guys at Rally, and they were able to bring us a massive network of people who want to buy gold and silver using crypto. And so, hold on, I'm fighting a sneeze. Anyway, sorry. But there's a great collaboration. We won't talk about it a lot just yet. I've hinted at it multiple times, but we've got some really cool things happening. And so there are some wonderful, wonderful internal connections that we are able to make. just by nature of being a part of an ecosystem with a whole bunch of really smart people. And Jenna, who's on here, you can see that cool truck she's got in the background, that Element wrap. She's a big part of a lot of these other communities. In fact, Jenna is a huge part of bringing deals of saying, "Hey, Scott, here's what I'm doing for this brand. I think it would work really great with Element." And we hope to get all of you guys who are involved doing that, whether it's, I'm working with this brand, or it could be something as simple as I know this guy who's in the mining field, or I know this person who's good at sales. Bring any sort of collaboration with you. Now, externally, as you guys know, we have a lot of amazing partners. We have some great jewelry connections, gold connections, mining connections that we have brought in. And it's a lot of those external connections that are allowing us to do some really big deals in the mining section and tokenizing of in-ground assets. And we just get hit up constantly, constantly. The event that we did in Puerto Rico over the weekend brought together some of the top people. We had, I think, 120 people in Puerto Rico. We were at Wright's house, and it was a wonderful event. And I spent the entire time talking to people saying, "Hey, what about this? What about this connection? I know a guy that does this." And so for 3 days, I just nonstop all day, every day, and it was fantastic. The excitement around Element, the collaborations that are coming through Element, and all of the wonderful things that we're able to do. So it was really great. I guess the biggest takeaway from the Puerto Rico event was the amount of momentum and positivity and excitement that's coming. Now, like I've mentioned before, there are a lot of things that are happening internally with our internal partners, our external partners, and then there are a lot of things happening with regulation. So a new article, a new guidance was just released yesterday by the SEC talking about what is a security and what isn't. And it was the best news because we're finally getting clarity. This is kind of a precursor to the Clarity Act, but the SEC is finally drawing the boundaries of what's a security and what isn't. And it was fantastic. It sent shockwaves throughout the crypto world over the past 24 hours of positive good news for us so that we don't always have to go, we're trying really hard, but the SEC could always come in and say, this, that, that. So to get clarity has been unbelievable. And so the momentum that we have internally and then the momentum that's happening in the market itself. Just before we got on this call, I follow just basically everybody I follow on Twitter's crypto people. And then I was watching someone draw the lines going, we have seen this before. And his prediction is a massive crypto run is coming. And it's going to be led by all the good regulatory things that are clearly being outlined for us. And so lots of exciting things happening. Now, we have been talking about partners, and every once in a while we'll bring a partner on. A while ago, we brought on Mitch, who is gaining steam. Mitch, as you guys know, is a guy that's bringing in a lot of capital. We've brought on other partners. I can't remember if we've brought on some of our mining partners or jewelry partners yet, but we have a lot of people, and I promised you guys that we would be bringing on as part of transparency and to let you guys know what we're working on, different individuals who are working on some of these amazing things that we have been talking about for so long. And so today we have brought on Josh Tapp. Josh, we've known for a long time. I'll let him do an intro for himself, but he and his company are doing incredible things. We've been friends. We actually met at a mastermind group several years ago. And as you can tell by the Element hat he's wearing, he's a big fan. He's a big supporter of what we're doing. And so some of the things that we have been talking about, we're going to start these marketing campaigns and do this and do that. It's all coming together. Mitch, we have meetings here with Josh on Friday here in Utah to talk about the deployment of his capital and what it's going to be used for. And one of those things are a lot of the efforts that Josh is bringing to the table. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Josh and welcome him. And you guys give him a big welcome. Tell him in the comments, "Hi, Josh." And I think after he's done, it's gonna be "Hi, Josh" with exclamation points because what he's bringing to the table and what we're doing with him is wonderful, wonderful stuff. So without any further ado, Josh, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, man, thank you for letting me jump in here. And everybody, I am very excited about this because obviously I am a community member. I've been in the community for, we were just talking, Scott, and I think a little over 3 years at this point. So been through a lot of the transitions and the amazing things that have been happening over here. So I'll give you literally a 1 minute synopsis of me. Built and sold four companies in the marketing space and then started building out a portfolio of companies doing B2B services, primarily with the end goal of raising capital for companies. And so we've done 2.5 billion in raises for multiple different companies. 100 million, 150 million of that is in the blockchain space. And Scott and I have talked about this for many, many years, but our whole focus here has been, and we come in and help not just raise money because this isn't a it's not really an investment at the end of the day. It's we're trying to help build an ecosystem of people using the Element token. So when Scott and I have been discussing a lot recently, we've been having multiple conversations about how do we get people to start using the token and getting real world value out of it. And when you say, and I'm gonna try to keep it away from crypto-y language. I hope that's okay for a lot of you because I'm sure we have complete beginners and major experts here on the call, but I'm going to talk as if you don't understand what that means so that it makes complete sense to everybody here. One of the primary drivers to make Element worth something is that it can be traded for value. So imagine you started a new country and you had to start a new currency there so that people could exchange something for something else. Now imagine if I started a new currency and I said, "Hey, I'm going to give this piece of paper and I know that this piece of paper is worth a loaf of bread." That will increase the value if more and more people are buying loaves of bread with that piece of paper, right? So in this space and primarily with Element, what drew me to Element over, and I love all the projects in the Connect ecosystem, but this one primarily got me excited is because we're ultimately saying let's go back to the gold standard and let's actually build a token that people can use for transacting for real world use cases. So being able to use that to pay your phone bill, being able to pay your power bill, pay your rent possibly, right? Buy cars, all the things that we spend money on, that allows us to start using this currency and it'll increase the value of all of our holdings as token and node owners. And so some of the things that we have coming, just so that you're all aware, I know because I've been in the blockchain space a long time, a lot of people will throw arbitrary dates out there and say, oh, yeah, like things are coming, things are coming, things are coming. I'm going to tell you that the next 3 weeks are going to start going crazy for all of you because what we're doing is we're going to go out and start providing products and services that can be used. You can use the token to buy them and there'll be real world services that are actually worth something and something that we're working on actively. I was speaking out at the World Economic Forum back in February, and we met with quite a few other people in this space who want to bring their projects over here. And conveniently enough, I was sitting next to Jessica Sibley, the CEO of Time Magazine. Amazing human being. Didn't realize it was who she was, but through her, we've actually connected with multiple PR firms that are going to allow us to actually get in with Time Magazine and whatnot to promote this. And so over the next couple of weeks, we're going to start launching these campaigns where yes, like we can go use these tokens and nodes or whatnot specifically for buying real world products and services. But now we're going to start getting that community exposure. That's, I mean, if you watch like the Rally group, that's what they've been doing, right? They've been doing a lot of the PR pushes. They've been, bringing on influencers, getting people to start talking about the Rally token, and that's what we're here to do with the Element token. So Scott, that's probably about as far as I'll go with that today. But I'm hoping for a lot of you guys, you'll start to participate with us because I'm not like an employee or anything with Element. I'm a community owner just like you guys, where I've jumped in, I've bought nodes, I've got my tokens, and I just want to see this succeed in the same way that I think, especially if you're coming to these calls, you want to have happen. So our ask of you is we're going to start doing a lot of big pushes around this, and that will come with a lot of benefit, not only just in the growth of the token, but there's a lot of monetary wins for everybody involved who helps grow um, grows this token. So we're very excited about it. There'll be a lot more to unpack as we move forward, but you'll start seeing a lot more communication from my side, and particularly talking about some of the next big moves that we're going to be making. And um, I am pretty accessible for those of you in the community. If you have ideas or have ways that you can help on the marketing side, you can hit me up anytime. I'll drop my number here in the chat for you guys, and you're welcome to send me a message. we'll get you in touch with our whole team, and we'll make sure that we're here to support however you can. Because I don't know if Scott's even allowed to really talk about this, but as a community owner, I can do way more than Scott can legally, right? I can go out and be like, we're selling this and doing this. And there's so many things that we can do as community owners. So if you have a creative idea, bring it to us, because the worst case scenario is we try it and it doesn't work, right? So the more that we do, though, we get more exposure. It's well worth the time. So please hit me up on that. I'll drop my number in the chat, and if Scott, if there's anything you want me to cover, feel free to jump
No,
in.
that's
But
great. No, I appreciate it. Thank you, Josh. And really, this is what it's all about. Josh said it perfectly that he's a community member. And as a community member, he's going to be bringing a whole bunch of value to Element United. And when he says there are certain things he can say that I can't, there's truth to that just because we're trying to be very compliant. And so as the president of the company, if I say certain things, and someone says, well, the president said this, therefore I had an expectation of this, then we start to get really close to those lines that the regulatory bodies don't like, which is why I've always given the challenge. If anybody has ever heard me or have recorded me or in any way, shape, or form promised a return, a specific value of the token, I challenge you to bring that to me. I think at one point we were offering like a lot of money if anybody could find one non-compliant thing that I said. But as members of the community, you can talk about things a lot in more broad terms, right? Because no one's relying on you, right, to go make money. You guys are just optimistic and you're excited about this project. And there's a lot of that going on right now in some of these other brands, which is why the momentum is building. And so but I am going to be a lot more bold now that there's clarification coming down from the SEC. I've had all this pent up excitement and I'm just bouncing off the roof and the walls saying Element's going to be the greatest thing to ever happen, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm always like, looking over side eye over at the lawyer, can I say this? How much? But with all the clarity that's coming from the SEC, we're going to be a lot more bold and forthright and, if you will, aggressive in all the best ways. But really, what Josh talked about is what nails it. It's all about token utility. If you can do things with that token, people will want those things. People will can put a value on that thing without us explicitly coming out and saying, well, this token is worth XYZ. And so there's a lot that's going to be going into this. We have been a little bit on the sidelines with kind of having our big coming out party, letting the world know about Element, because when there's this environment that exists where we don't really know the rules, and where especially we were gun shy a few years ago when everybody started getting sued by the SEC, we thought, okay, let's just build, let's just create things, let's just form partnerships. And now that the clarity is coming and the rules have been set, we can just bust out the doors to the world and say, this is who we are. This is why you should be involved with us. These are the problems that we're solving. And this is how it's going to benefit you, right? And sometimes it's not always a financial benefit, right? But we can say, this is why you want to be involved with this company. Look at the good we're doing. Look at the things you can use the tokens for. And we talk about it like that. And I always tell people, I don't think about or concern myself with the price of Element, because those things the market takes care of. I do not look at the price of ELMT, and I know all of you guys do. And, and my wife's always asking me, "Hey, when's this ELMT going to go up?" We've been at this 4 years. I want to go shopping, um, but I don't look at that at all as the president of the company, because I know that creating utility and solving problems, everything else takes care of itself, right? All those other things that happen in the market happen independent of Scott, happen independent of Element United, the company. But with you guys as the community, if you want to get out there and shout from the rooftops all the benefits that could come, go for it. You guys can do all of that as long as you believe it, and as long as you're not trying to take value from someone and not give any value back. And that's really what we're trying to do. It was, we especially here at Element, we walk this line, right, where we always lead with, here are the problems we want to solve. Here are the humans being affected by all these problems. And then there's this delicate transition into, well, what if a whole bunch of money is made and a bunch of people, living in the United States got rich off of trying to help other people? But the reality is that the rising tide will lift all ships. And we have built-in things that say, if we hit certain benchmarks, we're going to do X to help out these communities. And so it would be really it would be a real it'd be embarrassing for us if all these riches were made off of off of the struggles and the plight of other people. So we need to make sure that that never happens, that as we get out there and as we grow and as we let the world know who we are, we always lead with, here are the problems we're trying to solve. And here's the utility that comes from this tokenomic system. You can do this. You can pay your cell phone bill with it. You can donate your tokens. You can do carbon credits, right? All things that have a positive impact on society. And as we do those things, the token price takes care of itself. The market determines that. And if the market likes it, can this thing explode? And of course it can. Does it have anything to do with my efforts? No, it has everything to do with how people see what we're trying to do and all the market economics that go into it. And so, but of course, we're going to do all that we can to fulfill on our mission of building products that live on the blockchain. And as a community, every one of you, whether you own tokens or whether you own a node, help jump in. Let's get this thing going. There are so many smart people who've come into Element United that have a token background, that have a crypto background, that say, Scott, why aren't we just doing this, right? And I take that feedback and I love it, because there are certain things that we can do and certain things that we can't do. A lot of guys that come in and just talk about, we can get this token up by just going boom, boom, boom. And that's great. But the last thing we will ever do is to do anything that's a pump and dump. I do not sell tokens out in the market. I'm not in the market I've never sold a single Element token, through the market. We've traded a lot of tokens internally, right, to do deals with other people. Some members of the community have said, "Hey, Scott, I want to do this. Can we get some tokens?" No problem. I'm a deal maker. We can do that. But I've never sold a token in the market. We are here to solve problems first, and we're going to make this thing be successful as a community. It's all of us contributing, all of us being involved, speaking positively, and being very open, right? This isn't, hey, just go speak positively and bury all your concerns. We don't do that. You guys saw I posted in Discord all the problems and all the questions that people had. There were people who posted questions that said, this is bullshit. It's a rug pull. I answered those questions and I didn't delete those questions. We are very open and transparent, and because there's nothing to hide. This is gonna work based on all of our, what the community does, not what Scott does, right? And the perception that people have about this project. So we're going to bring on more amazing, smart, awesome people just like Josh Tapp, who are going to be talking about what we're going to be doing and what we are doing. Josh told you this is starting now. This isn't like something we hope happens a few months from now. We're starting right now. And so the next call will probably either bring on a jewelry or gold partner so that you guys can know where to go to use your element, right? Where can I go? And the first thing is everybody wants to know, how do I use my element to buy gold? We'll map it out for you. Okay. What's being built is the element to pay your cell phone bill. And that is going to go nuts, right? Because we've got a lot of big people who are working on that. And then there's other announcements we're going to continue to have as we get closer. I think we did give an announcement. We gave an update on the base listing, and we set up some pools, and one of them got flagged. I talked to John just before this call, and John, the lawyer, who I always bring on, because if I'm going to say lawyer stuff, he needs to be the lawyer that says it rather than me. And that one of the pools that was flagged, that's been removed. And so we're getting very, very close. We set up the liquidity pools, we get on base, and then hopefully all the things happen that get us from base to Coinbase. And so it is constantly being worked on. It's not just, oh, we set it and then forget it. It is always being worked on. And as we have relevant information that applies to that, we're gonna bring it to the group, let you guys know what's happening. So but again, I'll say this. I'll close with this. Started, I would say it was early 2021 is when I was like full-time all in. And I don't know, there have been a few times, right? Where big things happened to where I've been as positive as I am now and felt as much momentum, but I don't know altogether if I've ever felt more positivity and momentum than I do this week. Because sometimes we just get head down and we build, right? And then we hope it all works. And then other times we see the people and we see the movement and we talk face to face, like this event in Puerto Rico, and we say, this is the greatest group of people. There is so much happening. And you just feel it that right momentum is you can it's this you can feel it, it's real, right? And so I was just texting with Wright this morning and we were talking about there is something in the air. I think maybe it's just based off the SEC clarification coming off this incredible event. There's something in the air, and there's a force and a movement that's pushing us all in this right direction that is being felt by a lot of people. And that's the beauty of this to me is that so many people all at the same time are feeling this. And that's what I love the most about it is that this is going to benefit a lot of people and it's going to make a lot of changes in the world. But again, it takes all of us, right? This isn't let me sit back and see what Scott can do for me. This is let's get in, let's dig deep and let's make this work. So by way of transparency, we're going to try to bring on guys like Josh on every call. Even if it's for 5 minutes, we could say, hey, look, we've been telling you about the guy that owns the gold mines. Here he is. Here's Jay. Jay's going to show you a few slides and show you what we own. Or here's Abe. Abe's going to show and how to buy gold from him at Osmint. We'll bring those people on a lot more so that you can see this is truly a community-driven company. And it all happens by you guys. And keep bringing suggestions to the forefront. Keep bringing connections because a lot of those are working. I think some huge, huge deals are going to happen because somebody in the community called and said, I know this guy. He's perfect. You got to talk to him. That's why I was talking. I was going back and forth with Wright this morning is that 3 people from the event out in Puerto Rico have huge connections that he wants to bring into Element. And so it's all great stuff. Thank you guys for being so supportive and patient. Let's be honest. Some of you guys have been in this. Some of you are OGs who have been at this for 4 years with us. Some of you guys are new. Some of you guys came in from a different brand. And we appreciate all of you, and we are so grateful for all of you guys. And again, we're an open book. Any question you ask will get answered publicly, right? There's no, if there are people who have issues, maybe, if you're brave enough to bring up an issue, maybe there's 15 other people that have the same issue, which is great, and I'll answer it for everybody. You may like the answer, you may not, but it is what it is, and we're doing everything we can to make some real changes in the world and create some real utility. And that's all I got for today. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. Wish me luck. So my son, he's special needs. He's got autism. He's got his first track meet today. He's doing shot put, the 100 and the long jump. And he didn't sleep last night. He said, Dad, I'm so nervous for track. Will you help me? So I'll be running the 100 with him today. I haven't run 100 meters since I was in ninth grade. And so just hope he does well and that I don't drop dead on the track. So that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much. And we'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Paul.